You're just holding the book for the first time.
Exactly.
But you've been hearing about what Sarah had to say to you. Is there a little something in there that you recognize? Can you share with us?
Well, I understand she calls me the town crank, but I'll read this section in which she calls me the town critic. That's Sarah speaking, I hadn't been mayor long when a certain Wasilla resident established herself as the town critic. She showed up for nearly every council meeting on Mondays and a lot of planning commission meetings on Tuesdays. A Birkenstock and granola Berkeley grad who wore her long hair and flowing and with a flower behind one ear, she always had something to say, usually about her clogged culvert. She demanded to come to certain cabinet meetings to make sure that my door was literally open, to which the cabinet answered in unison with me, not just no, but hell no. The town crier would later become an expert on all things Palin when I ran for vice president.
Oh, very nice. So that would be you, Ann Kilkenny. Isn't that amazing? I mean, here you are showing up at your town meetings, being involved in your local politics. How dare you?
Well, you know, and when you're writing a chapter of city law, what a ridiculous thing to ask to meet with the department heads that would be impacted by the law that you're writing. I mean, how outrageous.
You're so mavericky, exactly. I mean, maybe the real rogue.
It's the granola, you know.
Do you smoke? I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of people that are eating granola. I wish that were what it would take to get people to show up for their communities. I mean, here you, and you know, every small town in Alaska has these, you know, good grief. Everywhere has people show up who are the people that are like paying attention all the time and asking the questions, and sometimes you're like, for the love of God, sit down and shut up. But you can't, because that's what democracy is. And even the crazies get to stand up. I'm not insinuating you're one of them, but I'm saying that Alaska just has a sort of special breed of people, I think. And having gone to Homer City Council meetings, I can assure you, soap dodgers all over the place. So
that's a new one to me.
This whole thing about the door being open, to make sure my door is open, you know, my understanding is, and John, maybe you can speak to this, that the joke was that Sarah's door was open because she wasn't there.
That's true.
Well, of course. I mean, why wouldn't
if she
you?
was there? What you didn't get much, but you know, you needed somebody else in the room with her to explain to the people that were there to talk to her what was going on. She was very quiet, usually on her BlackBerry.
Did she have lunch on her shirt?
No,
she doesn't eat.
She does not eat. She's a
Right.
Red Bull and white chocolate mocha all day kind of a person.
She's hungry. That's the problem.
Well,
We should call a nutritionalist. Oh wait, they already did that. So at what point did you decide that? What point did you decide that Sarah wasn't really how can I say this kindly, because I promised you I would. When did you decide that maybe she was more mean than smart?
oh, well, you know, what's your name again?
It's right here on page.
You know, I accepted that when I left the governor's office that was what needed to happen. It was the right thing given the circumstances. But what has disappointed me is that it's been the meanness and the pettiness that has continued day after day. I went through the campaign. I worked for the legislature. When she ran, I had the media from all across the nation knocking on my door, chasing my family. I stepped up the plate. I didn't criticize her. I've been called a critic, but you know, I go through this. I've faced a lot of things from her since that day that have been completely unnecessary, and I've had enough. Enough. This is it. The rules of engagement have changed. We are not friends anymore. And I didn't make that call, she did. And so this is where we're at now. I am tired of it, and I've had it.
Well, I'm really glad that you're here, and I'm, in a lot of ways, and in another way, I'm really sad that you are, because I think that you did have a valuable friendship with her. I'm not sad that you didn't decide to come here, but that you had to do this. I don't want anyone to feel sorry for me, though, Shannon. That's the thing. I have a great life. I have a great wife. I have a family. I have a great job. I'm still active in politics. I am kicking ass and taking names. I don't need anyone to feel sorry for me because this woman wants to throw me under the bus. There's plenty of good people under the bus with me, you know, and we're all doing fine. We're doing fine. So, you know, don't anybody feel sorry for me. I've got a good life. I mean, I've got lots. I found out what real friendship is all about, you know. Go through having somebody like that drag you through the mud. And you find out what real friendship is all about, those who do stand with you. And you find out that's what's important in life. And that's where I'm at, so I'm very happy. Well,
I think what John's trying to say is under the bus is the new on the bus.
Well, it's funny because all three of you in this book have really, you know, this cliche or this term under the bus. And, you know, there are so many people under there that shouldn't be there.
But there's a reason for that. I mean, there is a reason for that. And for those of us, and John, I'm not going to speak for you, but if you disagree, please jump in. I learned this during the first months on the gubernatorial campaign. Sarah Palin is never effective unless she has somebody to demonize. When she was running for governor, she demonized Murkowski. She demonized Big Oil.
That's all she has.
She demonized the Old Boy Network. During the general, she demonized Tony Knowles. She demonized the legislature. She got elected. She demonized Big Oil to get a GIA. When she became vice president, the vice presidential candidate, she demonized President Obama. I mean, she doesn't feel comfortable unless she has somebody to demonize. And one of the things that has continuously surprised me is her inability for her message or her intelligence to mature. Now, this book came out this week. It has been a year since the loss in the 2008 election. And one of the biggest criticisms of her during the 2008 election was she was undereducated and not sufficient on the issues. And this book, 413 pages, was her opportunity to set the record straight, to talk about foreign policy, to talk about her economic policies, to talk about her vision for America. What did she do? All she did in the 413 pages is went back and basically criticized and attacked anybody who looked at her sideways. I mean, this was an opportunity for her. And when you listen to her, she still hasn't matured. When she was on both Oprah and Barbara Walters, she was asked, why do you think you lost the election? And she said, well, we lost the election because the economy was tanking and people had blamed Bush and they wanted to change. But when you read her book, what's the one thing she was pressing the campaign to do? She wasn't pressing the campaign to talk about their economic plan or how they were going to guide the country out of the worst depression since 1932. She was talking to them about their inability to bring up Bill Ayers and Acorn. That's what she. So on one hand, she recognizes the fact that they lost because the economy was going sideways. But in her book, she talks about she was frustrated because they weren't attacking Acorn, and which is exactly what the public didn't want to hear about last fall.
And the race baiting.
But it's all about demonizing. I mean, if she's not demonizing, she's not happy. If there isn't somebody to blame for her problems in life or her inability to speak the English language properly, she's not happy.
Well, in your letter that you wrote, you mentioned her being a mean girl from school. And you were one of the first people to sort of put that out there. And in this book, there's certainly the proof of that. And with her Bigger the Hair, the Closer to God tour that she's on right now, there is really that. Well, you've seen it. It's huge. It's like it's going to get a permanent fund if it gets any bigger. It's gigantic. But you really pointed that out, that you had seen her be that mean girl, that she had to find somebody to be mean to or to demonize, as he's saying, or she played people against each other. But when you were saying that, what specifically did you see coming up to that?